2026 Harley-Davidson Sprint. It's too little, too late, and Logan, dare I say it, too Chinese.
You know, I couldn't have said it better myself. And as a Harley-Davidson owner, this story really hits close to home for me.
Yeah, this one's a little tough to swallow. Today we're talking about the new Harley-Davidson Sprint. I like to see that Harley-Davidson is coming in, trying to reach new audience members, trying to reach new customers with a sub $6,000 motorcycle that, although I did make the joke, they swear won't be made in China. But do you think it's even possible for them to make a motorcycle that cheap that's made in America?
I mean, I don't think so. Even the biggest global brands manufacture their less expensive beginner bikes overseas, whether it be less China to the extent, but either Thailand or India. You know, I think Triumph's Speed and Scrambler 400s being made in India is kind of the perfect parallel.
Aprilia RS 457.
Exactly.
India. Yep.
And Harley-Davidson does have manufacturing connects with QJ. They make that kind of training mule bikes, that X whatever 350 and X 550. Doesn't really matter. We don't see those here, and we don't really want to. But as well as an existing partnership with Hero, which is an Indian manufacturer. So I think sub 6,000, they really have no choice but to explore those sort of manufacturing avenues.
Yeah, in 2025 and beyond, it sounds really difficult to imagine that you could print out a motorcycle for less than 6 Gs, not building it overseas. And one of the big goals that they've mentioned with this, in partnership with their new CEO, which we're going to talk a little bit about, is that profitability is a main concern for this model. And again, there's just no way that you're going to focus on profitability using American labor and all of that. This moniker for Harley-Davidson has some cool historical connects right back in the Aramaki days, where Harley-Davidson was basically buying Italian motorcycles, reskinning them and selling them here, which again is the most Harley-Davidson thing to do. And, you know, if you're using that Sprint name, it's kind of like, okay, you're going to do that same thing you were doing back then, right? Like make a motorcycle overseas, bring it over, reskin it, sell it.
Yeah, it is kind of funny, that parallel between the global manufacturing thing and recycling the name. But again, mentioning Triumph, which we'll probably talk about a lot in today's videos, because there are tons of parallels between their storied past to newfound success and maybe what Harley-Davidson's trying to do. But similarly, you know, Triumph is known for recycling a lot of their names, everything from the Daytona to the Bonneville to the Thruxton. You know, pretty much anytime Triumph builds a motorcycle, it's something harkens back to sort of glory days of the 60s and 70s. Yeah. And so, it seems kind of fitting if Harley-Davidson's going to adopt some of these strategies of maybe a manufacturer that's not doing so hot, but pushing in a new direction, to adopt that heritage angle as well and bring back the Sprint name.
Yeah, I like what you're saying there, and let's kind of zoom out a little bit. So Harley releasing this kind of teaser for this new model is in lockstep with their broader goals of what they're broader doing. Logan, you may have heard that they had a certain CEO by the name of Mr. Zeitz, who has been just publicly shellacked over and over again by a very vocal, perhaps minority of Harley owners who have a lot to say about him. And in his ousting comes a new character. A new CEO has appeared, kind of like that little Pokemon thing. A new challenger appears. Artie Stars of Pizza Hut and Topgolf fame is coming in to try to revitalize the motor company, kind of eschewing the whole hardwire strategy that Johann Zeitz had, doing the whole, we're just going to focus on squeezing every last dollar of these dying boomers as we can. I think someone stepped in and was like, whoa, that's not a sustainable strategy. So tell us a little bit about Artie Stars.
So we started off with the Sprint, but that's just one element of this kind of new era. Because, the hardwire plan, which was Zeitz, was their proposed strategy from 2021 to 2025. We are now in 2025. And it doesn't look like I don't think it worked. And it doesn't look like Harley-Davidson's doing that great. So I don't think it worked. And so they were like, okay, let's pivot back the opposite way. And I think it aligns perfectly with the ushering in of Artie Starr. He was sought after for his expertise in growing global brands. It's interesting because he's coming from a sort of franchise experiential model. You know, Topgolf is about fun for the whole family, getting out there and having a blast. Prior to that,
have you ever been to a Topgolf?
I haven't, but I think I'd actually love it. I think I am not doing it because out of pride. I think I'm too cool for that, but I think I'd do it and I'd be like, this is so fun.
I think I've gone twice, once like many years ago, and then once like it's somewhat recent memory. Yeah, it's like a fun thing to do with just like, you know, you bring like 4 or 5 people out. Like it's a great thing if you have family in town and you have no idea what to do. You're like, let's just go hit some golf balls and like eat French fries.
Yeah, kill a couple hours.
Yeah, but yeah, like I think, you know, I talk a lot about the Harley customer, the Harley guy. I don't really know how they feel about this new CEO, right? Like, I think a lot of people are happy that he's not some goddamn foreigner from Puma shoes, right? He's a born and bred, corn-fed American, as far as I understand. Pizza Hut, Topgolf, you know, homegrown American companies, all that sort of thing. But yeah, like not a motorcycle guy, as far as I know.
Yeah, so it is interesting because on paper, his career success seems very in line with like the American entrepreneurial spirit, right? These big, popular, widespread American brands that all sorts of different demographics can appreciate and enjoy. You think that would sort of align with the Harley Davidson idea of like, you know, America, homegrown, whatever. But there seems to be some negative feedback or maybe skeptical feedback from Harley Davidson's core demographic because he doesn't come from a motorcycling background. But you and I were joking earlier. It's like, one, how many motorcycle CEOs are there just floating around? That seems like a very small talent pool, you know?
It's like 8 guys.
Yeah, and then even if they did manage to somehow coerce an existing CEO or someone with motorcycle experience into this role, I feel like the Harley Davidson fans would be let down in a different way, being like, oh, he's going to make crotch rock, rice burning crotch rockets or whatever. It's like, I think the Harley Davidson fan base is kind of a hard one to please, you know?
Extremely. In a way, I think because they're kind of like right-wing pilled, they're primed to like sort of be skeptical and be conspiracy theory sort of like pilled. And yeah, it's like any CEO you put in, they're going to find something to be like, well, wait a second, what about what's going on with this guy? So I'm not sure if you can ever really appease the core Harley customer. But it remains to be seen if Artie Stars is going to, you know, employ the savory appetizer sort of thinking to Harley Davidson. Logan, where are we going to put stuffed crust on these motorcycles? Where can we inject cheese into the bikes,
you know, I mean,
right?
got the tubeless setup, you know, instead of running some slime in there, you run some mozzarella. I'm thinking, you know, because he also has background in rave cinemas. I'm thinking 3D glasses for the TFT Dash, something like that could kind of attract like a new, younger demographic. Just keep things fun, keep things exciting. And again, that's a lot of where his experience lies in this experiential, fun thing. How that will translate to motorcycling, it's hard to say, right? Is every Harley Davidson dealership going to operate as sort of like an amusement park? It already has a little bit of that like tourist thing. I myself have gravitated towards a very bizarrely named Harley Davidson dealership in like a random town because I'm like, I just got to see what shirts they got. You know?
Have you visited Horny Toad Harley Davidson?
I haven't.
Up north from here. I think they're like 80 miles north of here or whatever.
Maybe I gotta.
It is a bit of a tourist attraction thing and a uniquely American phenomenon. Maybe we'll do a broader deep dive on this and just, you know, whack the hornet's nest once again with Harley Davidson and our audience. But there is some interesting through lines here to this story. It's interesting to see Harley Davidson, I guess, better late than never, really realizing that like we cannot keep selling $50,000 special edition CVOs. There's a very limited customer for that. We got to try making new stuff. But I think, you know, we talked about this a little before, like, is it time to just completely ignore the old Harley Davidson customer, right? Is it just time to say, we're done with this customer that we have been placating for like 30 years. We've been trying to like make sure they're coddled and safe. We'll create a little Harley Davidson safe space for them, right? Like just always making sure they're padded and comfortable and they have their road glides and their road kings. And we've completely ignored this other end of the motorcycling market, which I will say, 30% of every bike sold in America is a Harley Davidson. One out of every 3 bikes is a Harley sold. But that means that 2 out of every 3 bikes is not a Harley. Right. And you're missing out on 66% of customers that maybe if your brand wasn't so politically polemic and strange and right-wing coded and all this other stuff, maybe would give the motor company a try. But they've really ran the strategy for so long that they now have to get this customer. Do you think they should just, you know, kind of give up on this old customer, find new people? Yeah,
I mean, I think it would be a big risk, or they see it as a big risk, you know, because that has been their core customer base for so long. And I think because they've sort of nurtured that culture or at least enabled that culture, it's alienated a lot of other riders, you know, especially as we've seen with so many different, you know, brands that younger generations refuse to patronize because they have allegiances or alliances with certain political parties or politicians.
One way or the other, you know, we've
yeah.
seen it both ways. I mean, we would joke that like the Harley people might be like the same who, you know, didn't drink Bud Light, or now they're doing the anti-woke stuff, you know, and there's certainly left-leaning people as well who have said no to certain brands because of their alignment in other ways.
Yeah,
so, you know,
sure.
all these political factions are happening in motorcycling.
And so I think with Harley Davidson, you know, a lot of younger generation or a younger generation of rider, even if they can be excited by a new bikes, whether they're, you know, the Sprint or even if they're a more experienced rider like the Pan America or whatever, maybe stay away from it because of what they think it will tell people they represent or whatever. I think to be a younger person that still is down with Harley Davidson in some extent, like you have to be a person that understands and appreciates like the gray areas, you know? And I think a lot of people don't think that way. You know, they just think, I don't want people to think I'm a boomer MAGA guy. I won't ride a Harley Davidson, even if it's like a Ripper, you know? So
totally. And I think, you know, anybody that says that stuff isn't associated with Harley Davidson, I'd invite you to check out Channel 5's amazing video from many years ago where they went to Sturgis during COVID. And that, unfortunately, that is Harley's audience to some extent. It is, like I said, perhaps a vocal minority, but it is a very existent minority. It is out there. And like you said, you know, when you buy a Harley, you are co-signing some of this stuff that you just wouldn't get with another brand, right?
For sure.
So to your point, like maybe even you could see like a Harley Pan America 975 or whatever for like 14 grand. Maybe let's say they make that, but then you cross shop it with another middleweight, you know, sport touring option. You're like, well, it doesn't have any of the baggage that Harley has, no pun intended. And they're just like, I'd rather just not even worry about that. We, of course, love Rockform for their rock-solid phone cases and motorcycle handlebar mounts, but they keep adding more and more new accessories that allow you to capitalize and expand on your existing setup. With a Rockform phone case in hand, you can attach it to a mount on your bike, on the dash of your car, and now even on a camera tripod. As more and more people get into motorcycle content creation, the Rockform tripod mount is a super convenient piece of kit. The 1/4-inch threads attached to any standard camera tripod, and the magnetic phone attachment allows you to super quickly attach your phone to get the perfect shot. The base of the mount is magnetic as well, so you can quickly slap the mount onto a metal surface, snap your phone onto the other side, and set up a shot without even having to use a tripod. Rockform has an astounding track record for high build quality and rugged durability, and this mount is no different. With a super strong magnet, especially paired with a Rockform case, you know your phone isn't going to budge. Rockform's been a long-time Yaminu partner, and their support is invaluable. If you enjoy your existing Rockform products and have an interest in using your phone for photography or video, click the link below and check out the tripod mount. Yaminu viewers get 25% discount as well if you use the code YN25. So hit that link in the description, use that code YN25 for 25% off. Thanks so much to Rockform for the support. Now let's get back to the show. But that brings me to another point we talked about earlier with Triumph. I think Triumph did a really good job over the last 30 years of respecting their heritage and branding, but just doing new stuff and moving forward, right? Like, they still will sell you a special edition Steve McQueen Bonneville, but they got a Speed Triple RS sitting at the dealership or a Triumph Tiger 900. I wish Harley was more like that.
Yeah, I mean, and stranger things have happened, I suppose, but it would be, very cool if in 15, 20 years or something, Harley Davidson's lineup and attitude and philosophy did look a lot more like Triumph's, where, maybe the kind of 12 liquid-cooled 1250 Rev Max engine is sort of like the flagship motor that's in their top tier bikes, but they'll still sell you a Street Glide or whatever for someone that wants that heritage air-cooled thing. It's like the two worlds. Triumph has showed us that those two worlds can exist, right?
Yes.
You get a Street Triple RS or Speed Triple or whatever, but also you can get like a Bonneville Bobber, which is even more obscure than just the regular Bonneville, you know?
Or a Rocket 3, for God's sake.
Or a Rocket 3,
You know, like something really oddball out there and just doing their own thing.
Yeah.
I could certainly see a future in which Harley does that going forward, rather than just just keep making the special edition paint job CVOs or trying to inject like sport into like baggers. Like I understand that's like a big thing they're doing now with like the King of the Baggers and now the Baggers series in MotoGP, which rolling off my tongue is something I wish never happened. But it's okay. It's happening. It's going to be good publicity, whatever. But it's just like, they made the Pan America. They proved that they could just do stuff like that. If they wanted to make a sick-ass middleweight naked bike, they could. If they wanted to make a sport bike, they could. And look, I'm not saying that they just need to make sport bikes because that's what I like. I would love to see
just a diversity
of offerings, right? Being closer to a full-line manufacturer. Because I think that if they don't do that, right, or they focus more on like, you know, Harley merch and Harley finance and all this other stuff, there's no future for this company. I think that the future is them becoming a very boutique manufacturer, and that's it, you know, and just like you said, making like weird amusement parks at their dealerships because they have the land and the resources. They're like, well, like what else are we going to do with all this space, you know?
And the know-how from Mr. Stars over
That's
here.
right. Mr. Stars is going to get in there and be like, what you need is a Clibbin simulator. You need a motorcycle in the middle of the store that can simulate Deb falling off the back, but it's in perfect safety, you know? And then they get
like
their appetizers.
Mechanical bull, but
it's a mechanical bull. They get some nice food, arcade games for the kids. Come on, there's nothing better.
Kinda cool.
That's high margin, low operations. You know, like why are we building motorcycles? You know, maybe he looks at the books and he's like, this building motorcycles business sucks. This is crazy.
He's like, this is a losing battle.
It's a losing battle. Let's just make all these stores to be Dave and Buster's competitors.
Maybe. But yeah, I do think for Harley Davidson to end up more akin to like a Triumph or something, that very much is like a top-down. There needs to be like a top-down attitude and philosophy that's like really the driving force instead of like placating customers. You know, like the Pan America was sort of like, we just want to show that we can do this, but then they never were like, it never felt like they wanted to.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
And they didn't want to, and then obviously all the backpedaling with sites and those in the policies and stuff, which we don't want to get into here. You know, this is a motorcycle podcast. I want it to be fun. I don't want to alienate anybody.
Too late.
I don't know if that was too spicy because that was a reference, but whatever.
No, that's fine.
But what was I saying? Oh yeah, it needs like a core philosophy, and then that begs the question: is someone like Stars, who is clearly coming at it from a business perspective, have that fire, right? Have like because I'm still a person, whether I'm naive or idealistic or not, but I think passion and, you know, having a core philosophy and a core vision is the driving force of ingenuity, not just, you know, value or profits and blah blah blah. I think you need to have people that really want it and really believe in it and really want to like put in the man hours.
But think about it this way, right? Like he came from Pizza Hut and Topgolf. They were quoted in some of the reports we saw as like lifestyle brands, right? I'm like, look, nobody goes to Pizza Hut as their identity, right? Like nobody goes to Topgolf as their identity. People buy Harley Davidson as their identity. They become a Harley person. They change their clothes. They change their attitudes. They change everything about this. They start going to meetups. Like it is legitimately a lifestyle brand. I don't think Pizza Hut is it almost sounds I mean, you started laughing because it is hilarious. It's almost comical to be like, I'm a Pizza Hut guy. Like, you know, like what are we talking about? And like I've heard this from so many people in the motorcycle industry working at the dealership level, at the brand level, at the manufacturer level. They're like, you gotta live, breathe, and love motorcycles to do this. To work in this industry of motorcycling, it has to be like your whole life. And that's why I'm kind of like, I don't know if the CEO of Harley can just be a Pizza Hut guy. You know, like, sure, I'm sure he's going to take a look at the books and the financials and the, you know, the operations, like as any good CEO would do. But he's highly incentivized to just make the stock price go up quarter over quarter. And that's not what Harley needs right now. They need that decades-long vision of like, what is this company going to look like in 2035, in 2040, like Triumph did. And I think they did a good job, you know?
Yeah. It's like we have to ask, is Harley at their rock bottom? You know, is that what they need?
Are they crashing out, Logan?
Are they crashing out or witnessing the Harley Davidson crash out in real time?
Brought on the damn Pizza Hut guy. I mean, maybe one day if this crashes out, we'll be like, the Pizza Hut guy was the cruxus.
You know who they should have hired? They should have hired the CEO of Chili's. Because Chili's
is killing it.
Yeah, and they're tapped into the Gen Z psychology They're seeing massive turnarounds. That's who they should have hired.
Okay, speaking about Chili's, I think that's a lesson in like sort of business fundamentals, because like I saw so many think pieces like, how did Chili's do it? Like, what was their secret sauce? And then they asked them, they're like, we sold cheap food that was good that people could sit down and come eat. It's not rocket science, you know?
Right.
And I've been saying this about Harley, where I'm like, it's not rocket science. Just like sell good bikes that people want to buy at a decent price. CF Moto.
Right.
Why is CF Moto crushing it? Oh, look at that. They're making cool bikes people want to buy. It's not like, it's weird how sometimes like these MBA people and business people, like they get lost in the sauce of like metrics and all this weird shit about business. And it's like, someone told me one time, it's like, business is really fucking easy. It's like, there's a number at the top, there's a number at the bottom. Make sure the number at the bottom is positive and the number at the top is healthy, and like worry about the stuff in the middle. It's so fucking easy. It's just math and just like, oh, big number, smaller number, positive, great. That's it. It's not like, I don't know. I think like startup culture in Silicon Valley has like broken our brains to like what a business should be, where it's like, we should just raise $3 trillion and burn through it all and like hope we get enough users. Like, Jesus Christ.
Industry disruptors.
Yeah, industry disrupt. Like, well, if he's putting cheese inside of the wheels, he's going to be disrupting the industry for sure.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I think it just begs the question, even with all those right things in place, even if we had the Harley Davidson lineup we wanted of like some cool, modern, powerful bikes across different categories, Pan America, maybe the Bronx finally comes to play.
Don't say
whatever.
It. Don't talk about that.
But even if that all that existed, would people actually buy them, or is the reputation of the brand so long tarnished? You know, people say all the time, if they made the Bronx, I'd buy it, and I always just like, bull. You would.
I roll my eyes at that.
Yeah.
I agree, because there was an awesome. There's a really interesting little study that this company did. I talked to you about it, where they sell shower heads, right? They're filtered shower heads. And they had two different pages. One was a made in America shower head that cost 60% more because it was like made in America or whatever. And one was their standard Chinese one that they build and were selling it. They ran that across like 30,000 page impressions. Not one person bought that made in America shower head. And in the copy of the page, it was like, you know, America branding, like made in America, support the troops, I don't know, whatever. And nobody bought it, because it turns out that people say a lot of stuff. Yeah. They virtue signal a lot. They'll say, oh, buddy, I would pay 50% more for made in America. But in the comfort of their home, in the privacy of their home, with them in their browser and their little mouse, they ain't doing it, right? Yeah. And I think it's the same thing with the Bronx, where people say a lot. They'll be like, I would pay $13,000 for a 100 horsepower Bronx. No, you wouldn't. Right. No, you wouldn't. You're going to go buy a CF Moto.
Yeah. Because
or a used Japanese bike.
Or a used Japanese bike. Because, I mean, even think like the Indian FTR was like not too dissimilar of what the Bronx was sort of promised to be. Maybe more on the kind of weird retro side versus a true kind of naked bike. But still, like, Indian stopped making that because no one was buying it.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, let's make another... What do they call it? Tour Master? I don't even know what the hell their big baggers are.
Challenge Master. Challenge Maxer.
Yeah, it's like some big speaker bagger thing. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Bagger daddy. But it's an interesting time, I think. I think this is the most interesting thing, kind of moment Harley Davidson's had in a while. Obviously, all like the woke stuff was just dumb.
Oh my God.
Like fake news bullshit.
Yeah.
I think this is actually exciting, for better or worse. I think we'll see some new different things happening.
Yeah.
And maybe in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, riding a liquid cooled, sporty Olin suspension Harley Davidson will be all the rage.
Maybe. Or they'll just be printing money, selling little Harleys in India.
Yeah.
And quietly increasing the t-shirt business, the stuffed crust appetizer business, the Clibbin simulator. There's going to be a lot going on in Harley Davidson.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like there's any company that's had that crash out but like stayed successful in like a weird different way, like in a sort of like archaic representation of like what it used to be.
Norton? But even they're trying to make like a V4 super bike for the last 10 years or whatever. Triumph really is the closest story to this, where they were making the Bonnevilles and then someone had to buy them and then like totally reinvent it. And then, look what happened, you know? Maybe Harley's got to go through that to then rise like a phoenix.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Rise like an eagle, bro.
Oh, like an eagle. My God, excuse me. Sorry. Thanks so much for checking out today's video, folks. I hope you enjoyed this little news bit about Harley's new bike and new CEO. Leave us a comment down below, I'm sure I already have, about what you think on this news. Thanks so much for watching. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.